Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder if the way something is written could change how you remember it? That is exactly what a team of researchers set out to discover. Imagine reading a story. It doesn't matter if you think a person wrote it or if a super smart computer and AI wrote it. This study dives deep into that very question. They wanted to see if the author's assumed identity, human or AI, could actually mess with your memory. So here is how they did it. They got a bunch of college students, 122 of them, and split them into two groups. Both groups read the exact same story excerpt. But here is the twist. One group was told, this story was written by a human. The other group was told, this story was written by an AI, a large language model. It is like a little psychological experiment in deception, all for science. After reading, the students took a surprise memory test, and they also rated how enjoyable and easy to understand they found the text. And the results were pretty fascinating. Surprise, surprise. People remembered more details from the story when they thought a human wrote it. The group that believed the story was AI-generated remembered significantly fewer details. It seems like knowing it came from a human gives our brains a little extra boost when it comes to remembering. Now, you might think this is because people just liked the human story more or found it more engaging. And the researchers did measure that. They found that people did report feeling more engaged with the human author text. But here is the really interesting part, that extra engagement didn't actually explain why they remembered more. It was like the perceived authorship itself, this idea of a human author, was the key, not just how much they enjoyed it. This is a crucial point. It is not just about liking the story better. The very label of human author versus AI-generated seems to affect how our brains process and store information. It suggests that when we think something comes from a human, we might be approaching it with a different mindset, maybe expecting more depth or authenticity. And this somehow helps us encode the information better. And they also found that people didn't necessarily dislike the AI-written text more. The likability ratings were pretty similar, so it is not a simple case of AI is bad, humans are good. It is more nuanced than that. Other research they mentioned also points to this. When people think a text is AI-generated, they tend to see the author as less credible and less human. Like, this can even make them less likely to recommend the text or want to read it again. It's like we have this built-in expectation that humans bring something special to writing that AI, at least for now, just can't replicate in our minds. One thing they expected to see was that people would be more confident in their memory of the human-written text. But that wasn't the case. While their memory recall was better for the human text, their confidence in those memories was about the same, regardless of whether they thought it was written by a human or an AI. This suggests that the feeling of certainty in your memory isn't directly tied to who you think wrote it. Even if your actual recall is affected, they did find that the text perceived as AI-generated was seen as a bit harder to follow, and this difficulty to follow was linked to the lower recall. The researchers suggest this might mean people are putting less effort into processing AI-generated text. If you think it is an AI, maybe your brain just doesn't engage as deeply, assuming it is just a machine churning out words. And therefore, you don't work as hard to commit it to memory. Now, it is important to remember the limitations. This study was done with college students. So, while it gives us a peek into how this might work, we can't say for sure that everyone in the world would react the same way. People of different ages, backgrounds, and levels of tech savviness might have different reactions. Also, they couldn't pinpoint exactly when in the memory process things went differently. Was it when people were first reading and trying to understand the text, when the memory was being stored, or when they were trying to pull it back out later? That is still a bit of a mystery. And an interesting point they made is that they used a human-written text and just labeled it as AI-generated. They didn't actually use a text created by an AI. It makes you wonder if the actual writing style of an AI might have its own subtle effects on memory. Beyond just the label scroll conclusions, we live in the era of digital mediation of our mental functions. Scrolls, so what does all of this mean for us? We're living in a world where AI is everywhere, creating content, helping us brainstorm, and even writing for us. This study is a crucial reminder that our perception of the source of information can profoundly impact how we remember it. It means that when you see content online, in your studies, or even just casually, who you think created it might be just as important as the content itself. This has big implications for education. If students learn better from texts they believe are human-written, then how we label educational materials could matter a lot. Do we disclose if a textbook or a reading assignment was AI-assisted or fully AI-generated? This study suggests that such disclosures might affect how well students actually learn and remember the material. It's a balancing act between transparency and potential impacts on learning. Ultimately, our memories are shaped by a complex mix of factors, including our ingrained beliefs about technology, our daily experiences with it, and how we perceive the intentions behind the information we consume. As AI continues to evolve, understanding these nuanced interactions between our minds and the digital world is more important than ever. It's a reminder that as technology advances, it's our human brains and how we interact with these new tools that will continue to be the most fascinating subject of study. What do you all think about this? Does knowing something is AI generated make you pay less attention or remember less? Let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this dive into the latest psychology research, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Robin's Mind Lab for more. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.